In the heart of the night, this world will burn bright. We will set it alight. In the heart of the night, in the heart of the night, this world will burn bright. We will set it alight. In the heart of the night.
Hello everyone, I'm Anthropomantic Fiend, and I do horror-related things on the internet. Today, I'm going to be talking about another 60s B horror movie in black and white, and this one is called The Devil's Hand. This is a movie about this guy and a girl who are in love, and one of them has been seeing visions of this woman and then sees her in the face of this doll in this doll shop, and it's a very strange place. They can't quite figure out what's going on in there because he's seen this doll with this girl that he's been dreaming about's face, and then sees a doll with his girlfriend's face on it. They don't quite know what to make of this, and gradually this guy finds the woman in real life, falls in love with her, and falls into this cult that worships the devil god Gamba. Things just get weird from there, if they weren't weird from the beginning. So this is a very odd movie. It's not that weird actually, but it makes very strange choices. For example, in the music, the opening credits are set to what sounds like this surf rock. It doesn't really seem to suit the mood of the movie. It does have a connection to things that happen later on, but it's very tenuous and it's a very strange connection. The rest of the music is kind of different than other horror movie scores. It's got these sort of tribal elements that sort of go along with what the cult is doing, but it's really nothing to write home about. Not very interesting in terms of music. Acting and characters, meh. There's not really any kind of depth to any of the characters. What you see is really what you get with every single one of them. They're acted okay, they're kind of interesting, but I don't feel any special connection to any of the characters. They're just kind of there. The only real special effects we get in this movie are this guy when he dreams about the witchy girl, and she will be superimposed over these clouds above his head, and it's not really anything special in terms of effects, but I thought it looked kind of cool. Story-wise and pacing-wise, this movie has zero suspense to it. It's like right out the gate, you know about the cult and this guy's having weird dreams, and it just dives headfirst into all of the things that are happening without really making you attached to any of the characters to begin with. So it doesn't really work, but at the same time, I was kind of interested in what was happening. It was a very simplistic story, and it kind of rushes through everything, but I didn't really mind, because this is probably not a movie I'm gonna watch again. I might, but it's okay. It's just, the story's very simplistic, but I did find myself wanting to find out what would happen next. It doesn't really have a satisfying payoff, and it's just okay. The cult is not good. The magic, in some ways, is sort of this spooky, dark movie magic, which appeals to me just from an aesthetic standpoint, but it's another one of those movies that takes this occult angle and creates this sort of concocted religion that's a mixture of stereotypes from voodoo and paganism and Satanism into this weird mashup of worship of the devil god Gamba. Again, I'm sure there's some racism in there and some harmful stereotypes. It equates magic with evil. Everyone there calls the god Gamba the devil god, and they swear by evil. There's also a lot of sexism in the cult. It's its own thing. It's not condemning another religion, but in a lot of ways it also is, because it's a mixture of all these voodoo and pagan and satanic stereotypes into its own sort of muddled thing, I honestly didn't know how to feel about it. I didn't know how to feel about most of this movie. One character that I did forget to mention that was interesting was the cult leader, who is also the owner of a toy store, which is basically just his excuse to make voodoo dolls of people and use them on them. He seemed extremely familiar to me. I could not place who he was throughout the movie. I still don't remember the actor's name, but I am 99.9% sure this is the guy who played Commissioner Gordon on the 60s Batman show, which is such a weird move, but it makes him seem more trustworthy than he should be, which is a good move, because he should just be, on the surface, this casual toy store owner, but underneath he's this insidious cult leader. But, you know, I can't quite take him seriously as the cult leader at the same time, and the way he says all of the rituals and Gamba, I just see Commissioner Gordon doing all of it, and I can't take it seriously. So he was fun, but it was quite silly. Visuals wise, nothing really remarkable at all about any of the camera work, sets, or costumes. It's all kind of there. Again, from an aesthetic standpoint, the cult room was kind of cool, but I did have a little problem with some of the sound design, which was that during one of the rituals, there's this drumming that happens. It's usually fine, but there's a part in there where it's like clearly off sync, and it's just like, that is not what that guy is playing. And that is one of my pet peeves with movies, when people are playing stuff on screen and the music that's playing is clearly not what they're playing. It pisses me off so much. So did not like that. And honestly, that is all I have to say in regards to non-spoiler stuff. I didn't really have any kind of strong feelings one way or the other on this movie. Give it a watch if you want just a fun little B-movie and you want to see Commissioner Gordon as a cult leader, but otherwise there's really nothing special about this movie. It's just okay. That is my non-spoiler review of The Devil's Hand from 1961. Here are the spoilers. So there's a part in the movie that I did not see coming that I thought was kind of cool, but again, like everything else in the movie, where our hero has become embroiled in the cult and he's gained all this wealth and fame and power because of it, but he's kept away from his girlfriend and he's hopelessly infatuated with the witch woman who's lured him into swearing his allegiance to the devil god Gamba, and he's just, you know, basically her slave, but gets all these other things he wants. So this other woman comes to him and she's kind of entertaining because she appears to be this drunk who just approaches him on the street and walks into his house, and there's a fun little exchange where he tries to offer her coffee and she just goes straight for the decanter of alcohol, and I was like, this is what I need. And she pours her a glass and he's just like, no, take the coffee, and she just shrugs and pours the alcohol into the coffee and downs it and just kind of gags on it a little bit, but then becomes extremely scared and worried, and it's just like, this cult destroyed my life and it'll turn you into a robot and stop you from being kind to other people. And he sort of hesitates for a moment, but then is like, no, get out of here. But then we later find out that she was actually sent by the cult leader to test him, as basically, yeah, just a test of his faith, because they demand just completely unwavering allegiance, and if anybody strays, they are dead. His faith is proven, and I just like the little fun alcohol exchange, and I didn't expect that to be a setup, to be honest. And then at the beginning of the movie, like right off the bat, when they go into the toy store and they see the strange doll that is his girlfriend, and the toy store owner is like, this doll is not for sale, get out of here. And she's like, that's my face. And he's like, nope, no it's not. As soon as they leave, he just pins it to the wall, and she like immediately starts having this horrible, basically a heart attack, and is in the hospital with chest pains for most of the rest of the movie. The voodoo dolls in this don't kill you, they just give you pains in certain places, which makes sense, to be honest. but he pins her to the wall, and later the guy sneaks in, and I honestly thought this was a really good way to basically set up this horrible, brutal, lose-lose situation where the doll does actually kill you, but he's pinned it against the wall, so she is disabled for the rest of your life, but if he takes it out, she would bleed out and die. That's not how it works. I just sort of had that realization of, oh, how that would be cool when I saw that, but he actually does take it out, and then what I thought he did was pin her back afterwards and then tape it, and it was like, what kind of sick puppy are you? Stop. But what actually seems to be happening is somehow he like set it up again so it looks fake. I didn't catch it, so but he tricks them for a while, but it doesn't work for that long because stuff happens otherwise down the line. You can tell that I didn't really care that much about this movie. There was one really cool kill that I enjoyed. It was, again, nothing special, but it was a little highlight for me. This guy who's a member of the cult who is actually secretly this reporter who's been taking photos of the cult and trying to send them back to people. He gets found out by Mr. Commissioner Gordon, cult leader, and he calls together a ceremony, and he's like, tonight at midnight, one of the unfaithful will die when we will meet again at 12:30, and one of us will not be here. And you can already tell this guy's nervous, and we've never seen this guy in the movie before, so you're like, he's gonna die, isn't he? And while he's driving home, Commissioner Gordon cultist guy grabs the voodoo doll of this guy and stabs it through the forehead, and he's just driving and he just goes, ah, and drives off a cliff, and then he throws the doll into the fire, and his car blows up. And it's this completely unnecessary subplot, but I thought it was fun, so that was a highlight for me. Then at the very end of the movie, he's set his girlfriend free and is trying to get her out of town, but she gets captured by the cult and they try to sacrifice her, and he just basically starts a fight in the cult room and everything goes up in flames, and Commissioner Gordon cultist guy gets impaled on a spike, and they live happily ever after. So I'm rushing through this, if you can't tell. Didn't care that much about this movie. It's kind of fun, and again, if you want to see Commissioner Gordon as a cult leader, this is the movie for you. So that's my review of The Devil's Hand from 1961. Thank you for watching my video, and hopefully I'll see you in another one. Bye.